So I'm sitting in the theater watching this entire 2+ hour movie. And it wasn't until long after the movie was over and I got home, I was like, oh, wait, the lead actor was Voldemort. Clearly, I'm not that bright. And welcome to my safe gaming. Thank you guys for joining me for another review on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. Today we are talking about, unfortunately, no, I'm not giving my initial thoughts and reactions to the Spider-Man No Way Home movie like everybody seems to be doing on the internet now. This time around, I unfortunately was not one of the cool kids. I did not get to go to the red carpet premiere or get an early screener or anything like that. I will be seeing the movie on Thursday with all the regular folks, so be on the lookout for my non-spoiler review dropping then, and then Fantastic Frankie and Ron and I will be going live to talk about Spider-Man on Monday. But yeah, so we're not here to talk about that, unfortunately. I wish I was, but we are here to talk about The Kingsman, written and directed by Matthew Vaughn, which is a prequel to the Kingsman franchise with Taron Egerton. And so with that said, hello, if this is your first time on my channel, welcome. My name is Michael, the Black Gay Comic Geek. I always say the things that I love to talk about in my fantasy and on this channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic, or any variation of the four. So while this movie doesn't have any sex or magic, it does have blood and gore. But overall, I like to talk about superheroes. I like to talk about action movies. I like to talk about fantasy. I like to talk about sci-fi. And I also like to talk about black representation and queer representation. So if that's something that you are interested in, if you have a good time watching this review, and you want to learn more about my channel and see more of my opinions on other things, please check out the other videos on my channel. Hopefully you become a welcome member of my channel and you subscribe and hit the bell notification button so anytime I post a new video, you are alerted. But whether this is your first time or you are a regular here on the channel, if you could do me a favor and hit that like button. It'll really help with the YouTube algorithm and getting this video and my channel out there. But anyway, let's talk about The Kingsman. And obviously, don't worry, because the movie's not out yet, so I'm not going to be talking spoilers for this review. But the synopsis for The Kingsman reads: one man must race against time to stop history's worst tyrants and criminal masterminds as they get together to plot a war that could wipe out millions of people and destroy humanity. And yeah, like I said, this movie was written and directed by Matthew Vaughn. He's mostly known as the writer and director of the first Kingsman movie. He directed X-Men First Class and X-Men Days of Future Past. And of course, he wrote and directed the first two Kingsman movies. And this one, even though it kind of shares the same title or the same words as the first two movies, whereas the first two movies was Kingsman, all one word, this movie is The Kingsman. And it is a prequel to the other two movies. So you're not going to see Taron Egerton, you're not going to see Colin Firth or any of the other movies or any of the other characters from the other movies. And while I really loved the first Kingsman movie, I can't remember what year it came out, but I do remember it being one of my favorite movies of that year. I didn't really care for the second one that much. And I wasn't looking forward to this one, especially considering like I found out it was a prequel and then there's no Taron Egerton. And then also I didn't really care for the second one that much. Yeah, I wasn't really looking forward to this movie. The trailers didn't really sell me on anything. So I kind of went into this movie with very low expectations. And overall, I will say I walked out of the movie enjoying it way more than I was expecting to. So the movie follows Ray Fiennes, who plays the character of Orlando Oxford, and he is the right-hand man of King George, hence the title, The King's Man. And again, like I mentioned in the intro, didn't realize that was Voldemort this whole time. I'm just like, oh. I was like, because I went to this movie with Fantastic Frankie. I invited her to the screener, and I was like, we both looked at each other. We was like, why does he look so familiar? I was like, oh, I've definitely seen him and stuff, but I can't figure out or pinpoint where I've seen him. Clearly, that's Voldemort. And then there was a movie called In Bruges with Colin Farrell that I saw on Netflix a while ago. If you haven't seen In Bruges, that is a great movie. It's a black comedy and two of the greatest acting performance, and then just the story itself, like, it's great. I don't know if it's still on Netflix or not, but definitely check that out. And the backdrop of this movie is there's a potential war brewing between London, Germany, and Russia. And then the majority of the movie, or at least the first half of the movie, is his son, played by Harris Dickerson, who plays Conrad Oxford. He wants to join the war effort and be like his father and help put an end to all the conflict. But his father doesn't want his son to participate in war because he's scared for his son's life. And so there's all of that going on while also trying to stop the tyrants and stop this war from brewing. And even though I really did, like I said, I overall enjoyed the movie a lot, I do feel like the thing that, I'm gonna get this out the way first. I think the thing that muddled this movie a lot is there was so much focus on the relationship between Conrad and his father that all the other characters didn't really get that much development. Like Djimon Hounsou is in this movie, and then there's another character played by, hold up, what's her name? Her name is Gemma Arterton, and her and Djimon Hounsou end up being major players and major characters in the movie, but in terms of like their development and who they are as characters, you don't really get that much from them because there's so much buildup between this relationship between Conrad and his son while this whole war effort thing is going on in the background. But then at the same time, on the flip side, I kind of get why they did that, because there is something that they do in this movie. You think you know where this movie's gonna go. You think this movie is gonna be pretty straightforward, and you can predict where it's gonna, you know, beat for beat where it's gonna go. But I feel like the first half of this movie was very slow in the building of the relationship between his son and his father. Like, his son wants to go off to war, but his father doesn't want him. There's back and forth between all of that. And I feel like the second half and the third half of the movie is where the movie really starts to fly, because this movie goes places and does things that you do not expect. And so because of that, that's what made me enjoy this movie way more than I thought I was going to, because like, again, like even though it was a screener and so it wasn't a whole lot of people in the theater, there was something that happens in the movie that everybody was just like, oh my God. Like, me and Frankie just looked at each other. We was like, oh no. And obviously I'm not going to say what it is and what happens, but that's what really got me interested and invested in the story of the movie. And then not only just that, but like the cinematography and the crafting of the shots and the music and everything like that. You think about the first Kingsman movie, like one of the most memorable scenes was the church scene with Leonard Skinner's Freebird playing. And while there wasn't a whole lot of that in the movie, the action fight choreography and the way the camera, like there was a moment where a camera was attached to a sword and you got to see like from almost like the sword's perspective of the battle. And it was like so many interesting shots like that really kept the movie visually interesting. And then not only just that, but like I mentioned Djimon Hounsou, like when I saw him in this movie, I was just like, oh, like, cause we already know from like when we saw him in like even Guardians of the Galaxy, how he played Korath. He basically had no role in that movie. He was just there to be like, who? And then he got his ass beat. And then we never saw his character again. And then they made this whole big thing about his character's coming back for Captain Marvel. And his character was a nothing character even in that. And then he seemed like he was going to be a major player in A Quiet Place, in the sequel to A Quiet Place 2. And spoilers if you haven't seen A Quiet Place 2. But then his character just ended up getting killed off in the most unceremonious and stupidly predictable way. I was just like, they're not going to do this. They're not going to do this. This is what, no. And they did. So when I saw him in this movie, I was just like, who is his agent? Because they keep putting him in these franchises and these movies. And I mean, at the end of the day, he's still getting a check. But I'm like, I want to see his character thrive and be more of a presence. And surprisingly enough, he was. And so I enjoyed that. So that was also a welcome addition and a welcome surprise to see that his character, again, he wasn't as fleshed out as I would have hoped, but he was still a presence and had a major participation in the entire crafting of the story by the end. And with that said, the trailers for this movie was really pushing the idea that the main villain of this story was Rasputin, played by Rice Ifan. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right. And I loved that character, his acting, his performance, and everything just about that character of Grigory Rasputin. Like, the way they portrayed him in this movie, like, he was fun to watch every time he was on screen. And then not only just that, but like, his action choreography and the way he fought, like it almost felt like a ballet dance, and just the way the camera shot and the way the movements and everything like that. I'm not sure if that was the actual actor that was doing it or if it was the stunt double, but regardless of who it was, like I could watch his fight sequence over and over and over again because it was beautifully done and I really enjoyed that character. However, I feel like it was kind of a misnomer with how much they pushed his character in the trailers because ultimately his character wasn't as major of a presence as I thought he was going to be. And that's also a thing that kind of left me a little disappointed, because I enjoyed every single moment that I had with this character, and the person that ended up being the main villain, I was disappointed. But I mean, overall, I had fun. I can't say I disliked my time watching The Kingsman. Did I enjoy it as much as the first one? I didn't, because the first one was, I say, a masterpiece. But I will say, I think I enjoyed, or not I think, I definitely enjoyed this one more than the second one. And I don't know how well this movie's gonna do, because it comes out literally December 22nd, which is the week after Spider. Like, I don't know why there are any movies coming out this month, because I feel like the hype and the word of mouth and just the drive, especially after these reviews have just recently come out for Spider-Man No Way Home, are gonna drown out every single other movie coming out this month. Like, there are so many big movies coming out this month that you sometimes forget, because all we really think about, or the conversation has only been about Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, The Matrix comes out this month, Kingsman comes out this month, Sing 2 comes out this month, and I really like the first Sing movie. I think something else comes out this month too, but again, the conversation has always been about Spider-Man. But regardless, if you can't get tickets to see Spider-Man No Way Home, because these tickets have been selling out like crazy, and depending on where you live, if you can't get tickets to see Spider-Man, I would definitely recommend seeing The Kingsman. And I would say, for me, the prequel, The Kingsman, gets I'm leaning between a low hit or a high breaking even. So between those two is where I would put The Kingsman. But anyway, the question is, are you excited about seeing The Kingsman, or you just really don't care about this franchise? Have you seen the first two movies? Let me know, what are your thoughts just in general in the comment section below. Once again, please like, comment, interact on this video for the algorithm. And again, if this is your first time checking out one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. And if you like what you see, please subscribe for more and hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.